You're listening to Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast.
When your heart is aching and your world is shaking, don't give up. No, don't give up.
Hello and welcome to Oh My Health, There Is Hope, the podcast. I'm your host, Jana Short, and today I'm here with a very special guest, William Branum. William is a Navy SEAL veteran with 26 years of service, retired from the Navy in 2018, started a consulting company, and then in 2020, he started Naked Warrior Recovery, a CBD company to help veterans and first responders recover from physical and mental trauma. According to the Veterans Affairs, 22 vets take their own life every day. We have lost more vets to suicide than we have in 20 years of combat operations, and that is 22 too many. And their mission is to make Naked Warrior, is to make that 22 go down to zero, and I would love to support that mission. Thank you so much for your service, William, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm like listening to that. I get a little choked up when I hear it. When I say it, I'm okay, but when I hear it, I'm like, yeah.
I know.
So thank you for having me.
I'm so glad that, like, when we go through these dark journeys, I'm so glad when something beautiful comes out of it, right? It's not only something beautiful, but something beautiful that has the potential to change generationally, right? Change our great grandkids maybe, and how they recover when they have the opportunity to serve our country. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure.
Well, one of the first things I ask all of our guests to do is to share their story of hope. And so I'm going to ask you to start off by sharing your story of hope, and then we're going to lead into all the amazing things you're doing right now.
Okay, so I spent 26 years as a Navy SEAL. I would say that I'm fairly resilient mentally. However, after 26 years of service, I had some baggage. Some of it was from service. Some of it was from, we'll just say, toxic relationships without getting very specific. And so I never say PTSD. I just say baggage, because we all have baggage. We can all kind of relate. Just think about like putting a backpack on and just filling it and filling it and filling it. And sometimes it's your own crap, and sometimes it's other people's crap that they put on you. And so I had a lot of that. My bags were overflowing with stuff, and it just seemed to never stop. And so what I was doing, I was drinking. Like, it was all this noise in my head, and we're gonna roll. So I had all this noise in my head, and so the way that I was handling it is I would just drink myself to sleep at night. Pretty much, hands down, drink yourself. Like, vodka is my drink of choice, and it wasn't like vodka soda. It was like straight vodka in glasses. 3, 4, 7 a night until I'm pretty much pass out. That is no way for anyone to live. It's certainly not healthy, and it doesn't make anything better. It actually makes things worse. My health was declining. My mental state was declining. It wasn't helping me make myself better. It wasn't helping me make anyone around me better. And so I was certainly on the downhill slope to not a good place. And so I was in Virginia. I actually live in Hawaii, but I was in Virginia, taking care of some business, and I had lunch with a former teammate, and he gave me a bottle of CBD because I was interested in it. And the reason I was interested in it is because, I was driving to work one day. I heard a podcast. The guy was talking about, everyone knows about, medical marijuana and THC, but no one really knows about this other molecule called CBD. And this was like, CBD is like everywhere you look now, and he's like, this is something that I believe is going to be the next, like, sort of like wonder, whatever, like, it's going to help a lot of people. And the reason that it helps people is right now we're using it really for a lot of epilepsy patients, but we're helping it, it's helping people with, forms of different kind of depression, stress, anxiety. It's helping people get better sleep. It's helping people reduce chronic inflammation. That's, reducing chronic, illnesses in people. And this was before 2018, when CBD became legal. So CBD was not legal for nearly a century, until the Farm Bill was passed in December 20th of 2018. And after that, then you started seeing CBD stores pop up everywhere. But it was sort of this fringe, sort of black market thing in the past. But a buddy of mine, so I was there in Virginia. We had lunch. I said, hey, I'm going to go see if I can find a CBD store because maybe the CBD you have here in Virginia is better than what we have in Hawaii. So I didn't try CBD while I was on active duty. Number one, because it wasn't legal yet. Because I retired of July 31st of 2018. And then I was in Virginia in June 2019. And I told my buddy I wanted to find CBD. He's like, you want CBD? I've got some at the house. Because he's kind of an Instagram influencer, former SEAL also. And so we went to his house. He gave me a bottle of CBD and I took it that night. And maybe I slept a little bit better. Maybe I was a little less pissed off in the morning. I didn't notice anything dramatic in the beginning. But what I noticed after I ran out of the bottle is I kind of did a self-assessment. And I like to say that water boils at 212 degrees. Well, I was probably living right around the 210 degree mark. So any triggers that came in would certainly push me right over that edge, over that boiling point. But what I noticed is, and I didn't notice it again right away, but I noticed it kind of looking back on it, is I went from 210 to 205 to 200 to 195. Maybe I ended at 185. I just noticed that my trigger, my fuse was shorter. I noticed that I was drinking less. My sleep quality was, when you pour that much alcohol in your body, it sucks. But I was drinking less, which also it helped me kind of get control of those thoughts. And the reason I was drinking so much is I had all these thoughts swirling around in my brain and I wasn't able to control them or turn them off. And so I was able to one drink less, I was able to control the thoughts a little more. And I created a mindset to kind of help myself get through that I can certainly share with your audience. And then and also pains in my body were less. And I didn't know all of the science really behind CBD at the time, but then I ran out and I started getting closer to that boiling point again. So I tried another brand and I had similar results. Then I was at a business conference and I met someone in the CBD industry, and I really wanted to I'm very interested. I want to be a part of this industry. And she says to me, so do you want to do A to B, B to B, B to C? And I'm like, I want to do CBD. And she's like, and really, I want to work for you. She's like, I can't hire you right now. I can't, I can't afford you. I'm still ramping up and getting going my own self. But why don't you start your own CBD company? And I was like, I don't know how to do that. And she's like, you're a Navy SEAL. You can go figure it out. So I asked her for my man card back, and she let me have it. And she actually emailed me today. And said I was on another podcast, and she was like, hey, my mom sent me this thing. So that was kind of a cool little circle. I'm like, hey, this is the girl that got me started in the industry. But so I started looking into the CBD industry, and I found out it's incredibly dirty. The FDA has done many spot checks on different companies and different products out there in the market. And what they found is most products either had no CBD in them. They didn't have the CBD they said they had in them. They had high levels of toxins like heavy metals, mercury, arsenic, lead, things like that, because hemp is a bioaccumulator. It pulls all the good stuff out of the soil. It also pulls all the bad stuff out of the soil. It's such a powerful bioaccumulator. They're using it at Chernobyl to clean the radiation out of the soil. And they found high levels of THC. And so most of the products on the market were trash. If you're taking something to be a medicine, air quotes, then you don't want to put a bunch of poisons in your body. And so then I started looking for companies that had the highest quality product. What are your that I could partner with? What are testing results and things like that? I'm looking for quality over quantity at this point, because from the military perspective, special operations, which is my background, we focused on quality over quantity. Sort of the big military, they focus on overwhelming firepower. We focus on more surgical techniques to win wars. And again, the reason that I started Naked Warrior Recovery is because CBD had such a powerful, positive effect on my life. It's not a magic pill. It doesn't cure everything, but what it did is it helped me get my mind kind of back under control, sort of control those negative thoughts, slow them down a little bit, just so that I can grab them and control them for long enough to deal with whatever that baggage was. And I also kind of figured out along the way, and the reason that for Naked Warrior is I was walking around with this ego on, and we all walk around with ego, and it's our baggage, and it's this crap that we just like don't ever want to take off. So in the SEAL teams, we put body armor on, we go into harm's way, we take care of business. Sometimes the armor is really good, and sometimes it's not. But then when we come back, we take it off, we hit the showers, we rest, we recover, we get ready for the next mission. In life, we never do that. We end up just wearing this armor on, this ego, this baggage just around pretty much nonstop. And then when we want to actually maneuver and we want to like do something real and productive, we can't, because we have this ego, this armor, like sort of holding us back, and it's weighing us down. So what we have to do is we have to get naked. We have to take that armor off. We have to take that ego off, take that baggage off, set it in the corner, kind of expose yourself so that you can find some healing, and change your mindset and actually control what's going on with your body and with your mind.
Wow.
I don't know if I answered your questions. That was a big loop there.
No, I loved your story. And I mean, I've taken a lot of notes of a few of the things that you've said. One of the things you and I talked about, and you kind of did cover it a little bit, is that I feel like I was just telling William when we first started talking that I don't really promote CBD oils yet. It's not that I don't believe in them. It's just that I feel ever since they legalized them, everybody jumped on that bandwagon, right? They pop up everywhere. And it's kind of like the wild, wild west. Nobody's really controlling those distributions and how they're created and what you're actually getting and the labeling. For instance, people are telling me they're buying CBD oil on Amazon, and Amazon doesn't sell CBD oil. Like, they sell hemp seed oil, but not CBD oil. And people don't know that. They're like, no, it says CBD. I'm like, no, it actually doesn't. Look at it. And it doesn't say CBD, but they put like a marijuana leaf or something. And they do everything that subliminally will trigger your brain to think that that's what you're getting. And it's not. There's a lot of tricks in marketing. And until I feel very confident that there's some control and a lot more research coming out, because I've seen it work, by the way. I've seen it work in people and change their lives. So I know that it's the capability or possibilities are there. But we're just on the verge of really showing what that can do. And you were telling me, so you started using it when you came back from the military, right? Because it wasn't legal when you were still in the military.
Correct.
And I'm wondering how that works. Like, I do not want to be the person who keeps putting a Band-Aid on a warrior who has a lot of recovery to do. And just feeling better for a few days isn't really fixing it. And so that's why I'm not a big fan of them self-medicating through drinking, self-medicating through, smoking pot and getting high. Like, all the self-medicating things are not fixing it. They're just getting you from day to day to day to day, and with the problem getting shoved deeper and deeper and deeper down. Does CBD oil do that?
What CBD oil does is, so, before we came on, you talked about CBD and THC, and I will tell you that they are, THC and CBD, they are antithesis of each other. So it's really the opposite. So the way that THC works on the CBD1 and CB1 and CB2 receptors in the body, let me back up even a little more. So all mammals and fish have what's called an endocannabinoid system. So it's this giant neuroreceptor system that's connected to every other system in your body. Think your central nervous system, your digestive system, your respiratory system, your endocrine system, your immune system. It's connected to every system in your body. And sometimes those systems get out of whack. And when one system kind of gets a little cattywampus, it can pull all the other, because it's all connected, can kind of pull other things out of balance. And that's sort of, from chronic illness, chronic inflammation, things like that. And so your body creates endogenous cannabinoids. And the way that we found this endocannabinoid system is scientists were trying to figure out, what does THC do in the human body? How is it being like good? And so what they did is they took a radioactive isotope, attached it to a THC molecule, put it inside of a human, and watched it like travel around the body. And that's how they discovered this endocannabinoid system. And they named it after the cannabis plant. And then they found that the body actually produces endogenous cannabinoids. It creates anandamide, which is associated with sort of the runner's high, the feel good. It helps with the upregulation of serotonin. And it's also 2-AG, which I don't remember what it does. But both of those endogenous cannabinoids, they feed the endocannabinoid system. I know it kind of sounds a little technical, but sometimes you don't make enough of these endogenous cannabinoids. And CBD comes in and it helps to support the endocannabinoid system. It's like, I call it like a super multivitamin for your endocannabinoid system. It's not really healing anything. It's like bringing everything back into homeostasis so your body can kind of heal itself. But, kind of going back to THC and CBD, THC, what it does, it comes in and it binds to those CB1 receptors that are in your brain. And that's what gives you the high. So you could have someone that's having a really bad trip on, I've never used THC, so I'm kind of, it's anecdotal to me, but you could have someone that has a really bad trip on THC. They could take a bunch of CBD, and what CBD does, it'll go in and it'll unbind the THC from those neuroreceptors and bring them back down off the high. So since CBD is very, very new, it's new science, new everything, there's still a lot of research to be done, but all the research that I've read, and I get on PubMed and I, look at, scholarly articles quite often on research, and, the research is very positive on the side of CBD. I haven't found very much that's in the negative side. Everything that I've read is very positive, and so it's I think there's a lot of hope, and there's a lot of things that it can potentially help with.
So, by the way, I love that you came on the show today when you did, because I'm older, like I'm a lot older. I'm in my 60s, and I talk to people all the time. And when they hear the word CBD, they're drug addicts, right? They're because we were raised like that is a gateway drug to
100%, yeah,
things, right? And
yeah.
it's hard to change their thought process on. I love that you just explained it as kind of like a super supplement.
Right. You don't get high or anything else. I mean, at most, maybe some people are more sensitive and they can just become a little more tired. But really, CBD kind of, I don't know how familiar you are with like red light therapy, photobiomodulation. So CBD, so people can use it in the morning to help wake up. They also can use those red lights at night to kind of like wind down and get ready for sleep. CBD can do kind of the same thing in smaller doses where you need to like get a little faster. I actually have a CBD energy drink, and this will kind of roll right into like kind of, let's see if I can, there you go, focus. So all of my products have this QR code on them. And the reason that's important is because there's a lot of trash still out there in the market. It's getting better, but if you're buying CBD from a company, they should have all of the lab testing results on their website, or at least a way to get to them. And, if you have something that just helps a company that only has like one lab result and it's not even for something that they're selling, then maybe you should question what they're doing and what they're, really providing. So all of our products have this QR code on them, so you can actually go in and see what the lab results are for every batch of product that is made. It doesn't matter if it's a gummy, a tincture, the thing you put on your tongue, a topical you put on your skin, an energy drink, a soft gel that you swallow. We go above and beyond what the industry, like the good people in the industry, the bigger names do, where they will extract the oil from the plant. They will test the oil, and then they'll make a product. We go one step farther, and we extract the oil. We test the oil to make sure at an independent third-party lab. When it comes back, then we create the product. Then we have the end product tested again to make sure there was no contamination in the manufacturing process. And that is the lab result that you see when you scan the QR code or go on the website to see what you're actually getting at the end of the day. But you asked a question, and I went down a whole nother rabbit hole about, photobiomodulation and
So glad you went down that rabbit hole, because for me, third-party testing is so huge. And to be completely transparent, like I've used a couple of companies for other things, and they always have the same thing, a little barcode that you can literally put in your batch testing popped up, so I could see that it was completely not adulterated, and it was exactly what they were saying on the bottle. And it made me feel so much better about their product. So I love that you do that. By the way, that's expensive. It takes a lot of time, and it'd be a lot easier to just throw what they were told was.
And that's why, and again, it's like, one time someone asked me, what's the difference between your product and the CBD that I can get from the gas station over here? And I wish that I came up with the answer, but it was a guy standing next to me, and I'd already kind of explained the QA process that we go through. And so he was like, so it's the difference, like, he's like, so what's the difference between sushi that you get from a sushi house and the sushi that you get from a gas station. Do you really want to roll the bones with gas station sushi? Why on earth would you roll the bones with like gas station CBD?
100%. I think that, first of all, you guys should be looking for third-party testing. Know what you're buying, know what you're putting in your bodies, because what's written on the bottle nowadays is not necessarily what you're purchasing. It's like they're super tricky. They can have a little teeny bit of CBD oil and then adulterated with a ton of other chemicals and fillers and things that just are not good for you and not have to tell you about it.
Right.
So they just call, like, for instance, I was blown away. I raised 4 children and now I have 7 grandbabies. But I remember buying juice thinking, oh, I'm giving them juice, 100% juice, right? And then when I found out that 100% juice is really like 10% juice, it only has to be 10% of natural juice to be called 100% juice.
Right.
And I was giving my kids sugar, tons of sugar and byproduct.
I can't believe it.
No idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love that you do that testing. Tell us, like, for any warriors that might be listening, or by the way, sometimes warriors aren't really, I'm no disrespect to you. They're not the first to step up to take care of themselves. They're so used to taking care of others. And I know a lot of women listen to this, and I know a lot of women have first responders or other, servicemen in their lives that they know they're watching them suffer and they aren't stepping up and taking care of themselves. What are some of the things that this might help them with?
It can help with sleep, stress, anxiety, different kinds of pain, and everyone is different. Everyone, kind of requires a different dose, and sometimes it's a little trial and error because it's not a perfect science. It's still very new. And if anyone is saying you do this for that, they're probably not accurate. It doesn't matter about weight either. Like, I have people who are much larger customers, and even they have, sometimes require a smaller dose than a smaller person. So it's not based on weight or anything else. It's just like, what does your body need? And so I've kind of figured out what I need. Sometimes I take CBD every day, but sometimes I need like a little extra boost. So one of those triggers, something happens, I'll go grab a tincture, and put it under my tongue and hold it there for, a minute or two. And after 10, 15 minutes, I'm able to process this thing where before I wouldn't be able to process it. This trigger that set me off. And then I can have an actual, no kidding, real productive thought process on how to handle whatever this thing was that popped up. But I think it's a good daily supplement just for, I know it's a pretty expensive product. But for me, it's worth it because the way that I was before, I would never wish that on anyone or ever want to go back there. So, but again, it's only a modality. You still have to get your mindset right. You have to figure out what your mindset it wants to be. I can have those triggers come in and I can just dwell on them. I can take some CBD and dwell less, and then I can actually think about how to, approach it. So CBD is a modality. If anyone tells you that it's a cure-all, it's absolutely not, but it's a very powerful supplement that I've, put into my life. And I will probably never not use CBD again, just because it had such a powerful positive transition for me to get away from the booze, to have less pain. Like we talked about earlier, I'm 100% disabled through the VA, because of all the injuries I've had over my career, and which means I'm 250% disabled if you add all the disabilities up and how they rate them. But I still get up and I move around a little bit slower than I used to in the morning, and a lot of us do. But it helps. I can tell when I haven't taken CBD very much because I'm a little slower moving. But you know what? This box that I showed you earlier, it's a CBD energy drink. I actually had someone, and again, none of this is medical advice. I sell to some gyms and things like that, and there's a gym in Utah that sells some of my products. And one of the students from the gym was giving his wife the CBD energy drink, and she was able to get off of her Adderall and be able to focus throughout the day and not have jitters at the end of the day. Now, it doesn't work for everyone, but I've given some to other people that are very, very dependent on their Adderall. And they're like, it didn't even do anything for me. I'm like, okay, but again, everyone's different. And but
And that made me think of a really great question for you, because we just have a few minutes left. But on taking CBD oil, when people take it one time and they say, I didn't notice a difference, or they take it for a couple of days, is CBD oil like a lot of other things that we take that have to build up in your system before you start noticing? It's like if you took a, I don't know, pain pill, your pain goes away within 15 minutes, right? But CBD oil may not work like that. You might have to take it for a longer period of time, get your body accustomed to the changes before you start really noticing the difference. So what's a good time frame for someone to try it?
And you know, I'll go back and kind of, you know, kind of what I was saying in the beginning is I didn't really notice a lot in the beginning. I just did it because I had it and I wanted to take it. But then I looked back and I was like, I am further away from that boiling point. I actually have less pain. Like I'm doing these movements that used to like be stabbing. Now the pain is still there, but it's a dull pain. So, you know, everyone is different. And I have had people say, you know, it doesn't work for me or whatever. And like, okay, well, I'll give you your money back. It's, you know, you just have to tell me. But, and again, there's like different strengths out there. Everyone is different. And it's still very new. You know, it's actually not new. We've been using like hemp for medicine for over 2,000 years, but we just have like about 100-year gap of not using it because it was sort of demonized. Right. But there's a reason why it was something for that 2,000 years plus, and why it's, you know, people are having great benefits from it now. So yeah, I would say, you know, if you buy it, use it regularly. Like people take vitamin C, people take multivitamins. I don't know if it actually is doing anything for me or not, but I was able to like measure after taking CBD for 30 days, like an actual difference in my life, you know, but it wasn't quantifiable. It was like, you know, I'm drinking 4 glasses of vodka instead of 7. I'm able to do this movement without pain until it gets to there. When this thing comes in, these triggers come in, it takes me longer to hit that. But like they're kind of intangible. My sleep got a little better. I measure my sleep and I can tell, based on different factors plus CBD on like how good my quality of sleep is going to be. I actually mostly know it before I go to bed, how it's going to be the next day.
By the way, for those of you who don't know, most returning military men have a horrible time sleeping, like a horrible time.
My sleep sucks for sure.
Yeah, it's the last things that they ever get back. William, thank you.
And I have a product that is like, I've been impressed with it my very own self. It's called Sleep, and it has CBN, a different molecule from the hemp plant. That's sort of the sedative piece of it. Has been a game changer for me. But anyway,
I love it.
I know we're short on time.
We are. But here's the thing. I think you're fabulous. And I really want us all to reach out to William. I'm going to put all of his information where you can go look up his sleep product, look up his CBD products, check out the testing, and maybe we can help him bring that number down to a 0, because us losing our military men because they felt hopeless and they couldn't get out of the pain they were living in is just not acceptable in this day and age. And we all play a part when we do nothing. So let's start playing the right part and making that change. So William, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast. Make sure to visit Jana's website, bestholisticlife.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, or listen there so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you simply tell a friend about the show, that'll help too. Let's change the world together, one health expert at a time. Looking forward to seeing you next time.